So here's my original garden plot, and you might notice this part looks very different. The tomatoes are going crazy over there, but here where the potatoes were, it's looking kind of sparse and sad. And I'm 99% sure that it's because the potatoes are ready to be harvested. So I did already pull up 3 plants here, but we had a lot of rain. Like, I want to say it rained for like 2 weeks, it seemed like. So when the potato plants started turning yellow, I started getting worried that they were diseased, but it was also because they were ready to be harvested. So these over here are still kind of green, but you can tell they're curling and they're turning yellow. And this side over here is like flat out, like they're gone. This white powder is diatomaceous earth, because when I harvested the first couple plants, I noticed that there were ants over here. So I sprinkled some over here, and then the ants moved down here. So I sprinkled some more over here, but then they were also back. And because we've just had so much rain that it just washes away the diatomaceous earth. So I'm hoping that I'm able to harvest the potatoes today without getting eaten up by ants. And then I have plans for what I'm gonna put here next. Oh, there's still ants everywhere. Okay, well, no potatoes came off of there. Oh no, this is bad, bad, bad. Okay, if I'm very careful, pay close attention, then hopefully I will not get bitten. Ah! I feel more potatoes down there. They look really good. And I decided, even though I knew the ants were going to be an issue, I had to do this today because it's going to rain again tomorrow, and I didn't want the ground to be wet. Okay, I don't see any crawling on me. I thought I felt more down here. I planted these seed potatoes originally 12 inches deep to make sure they were plenty deep enough. Oh, there's one crawling on me. Okay, maybe that was it for that plant. Oh, no, there's another one. That's a rock. So anyway, I planted the seed potatoes 12 inches deep originally, because I didn't want to have to deal with like hilling up and that stuff. Because hilling up is actually, it's better for indeterminate. Hilling up is better for indeterminate potatoes, because the potatoes will continue to grow up the stem. These are Yukon Gold potatoes that are determinate, which means they will not keep growing up the stem. It's important to plant them deep still, but it's not the same. Like, it's not like they're gonna produce more, I don't think. Plus, you know, you only have so much space in a raised bed like this. I'm on the second plant now, and this one has lots of little bitty potatoes. The first few plants I harvested, I did get some good size potatoes, But I will say that the skins were very thin, so I scratched them up, and I hope that they're still okay. Like, I hope that they're not ruined because I ended up damaging them as I was harvesting. Oh my god, there's so many ants. Even down here. I thought they were just concentrated down there where the bed was, but no, they're all over. And I want to say that you're not like, this is something that I feel like I was not prepared for, was dealing with ants. So over the years, as I've done a lot of container gardening, I've read a lot about companion planting, which is why I have so many flowers in addition to the vegetables. So every plant is intentional, where it's meant to attract certain pollinators. So attracting beneficial insects that help control the pest population and making sure that the bad bugs aren't able to take hold. And for the most part, that has worked out really well for me, where I haven't had issues with pests except for flea beetles on the eggplant. That's the only pest I will say that I'm having issues with, they're not being repelled, or like the trap crops are not working. Like, they're just going straight to the eggplant and leaving everything else alone. So the eggplant is extremely suffering, and I don't know if I'm actually going to get any eggplant. So overall, I feel like companion planting, if I had to give my experience on my one season so far, is that it's been working for me. But with freaking ants, there's not recommendation for that, and it's making it personally harder for me, because I would normally get down on my knees and like kneel over so I'm not bending over trying to harvest these potatoes, but I can't because I don't want them to crawl on my shirt. So this sucks a lot, but I'm getting quite a few little potatoes, so that's cool. One of these plants I really want to pull on and have all the potatoes just come up. So far that hasn't happened. I'm getting these little bitty ones, but they're right under the surface, like they're right here. I did plant these potatoes very close together, which probably way closer than recommended, but ooh, there's one right there. It's almost like an Easter egg hunt, like you're seeing them through the dirt. So I did plant these very close together, and the results of my harvest will determine if I do it that way again, or if I will try to space them out. It's so dried out that it's not even, oh, look at that. I did plant these potatoes also very close to this dill. I planted the dill actually right in between. It's supposed to help the potatoes grow better. Now the dill is starting to bolt. I don't know if you can see that. So we're starting to get in the flowers, and I love the lacy look of dill. Holy crap. Look at this.
Hey. Smile. Okay.
It's definitely the biggest one so far. Oh, this is another big one. Oh, look!
Dang.
Holy crap.
Dang.
So here's the final look at all the potatoes we pulled out for this time. I have a few more that I pulled up before. I was really pleasantly surprised by these really large ones. So those plants had, I think, fewer, but they had very big ones. And those were the ones that were on this side of the bed versus this side had the smaller ones. So I'm really curious what could have been different in terms of the environment, because obviously it's half and half of the same bed. The dill was smack in the middle. The sun, so this part of the bed faces east, west is that way, so it was getting the same amount of sun essentially. The only thing I could think of is that I think I did kind of give preferential treatment to watering this side for some reason. I think because it's closer to the entrance, so maybe I watered this one and fertilized it more. And I also noticed that the plants on this side were the ones that were still kind of green and like hadn't completely died back. So I don't know, it's an interesting nature nurture conversation. But this is what I'm left with now, and I'm going to plant watermelon next. I was considering planting more eggplants, like getting starts from a nursery, because this is one of my eggplants that is just like, I don't know what's happening to it. Obviously it's very crowded, so that's a thing, but it has these holes in the leaves from the flea beetles. The other one over here is doing better, and I do think that these plants on this side of the bed will be doing better because they're not going to be shaded out by the potatoes, which was happening when the potatoes got really big. So like these pepper plants should hopefully start shooting up even more, which I did fertilize them because they look kind of yellow. I think maybe because of all the rain we've had. This Cosmo is just like leaning. And just for another quick garden update tour, this is the tomato side, and it is going absolutely wild. This side right here are cherry tomatoes, which are indeterminate, which means that they will get taller and taller and taller, and they just are gonna get completely out of control. And I'm considering cutting them back. So like this stem right here, this just jutting out into this side, I'm considering cutting it back, and this one right here, because I do have a cucumber plant right here, and I didn't anticipate the tomatoes getting so big. Now I could replant cucumber somewhere else, because they take up so little space being just totally vertical, that I maybe could replant them, because I do have some flowers in there. So that flower right there way in the back is a cucumber flower, so I could be getting cucumbers that are just hidden in the tomatoes. And then this side of the bed, the majority of the tomatoes I have are Roma tomatoes, which are indeterminate. So once the fruit that they put out is just what they're going to put out. They're not going to keep growing and growing. And obviously you can see that they are growing, and I'm just waiting for them to start blushing. And I also need to fix my Florida weave. So that string that's kind of hardly holding it up, I need to bring it up to here to give a slightly more support, because now the fruit is starting to get heavy. Oops, my mic. And they're growing every day, because it's like there's ones deep in there that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on to make sure. I want to say these were the original tomatoes that really sprouted, so those are the ones I've been keeping an eye on to see when they blush, when I can pick them. And then a quick update on the other plot. So we had all that rain, which at first the sweet potatoes did not seem to be enjoying, but now they seem to be really happy, and they're starting to really branch out. And I'm trying to decide if I want to trellis them or if I just want to let them go. Yeah, I haven't decided yet, but I also have nasturtiums growing over here, because I just like how they look. They're so pretty. The leaf shape is just so unique. And then these are the beans. They're doing really well so far. These are supposed to be bush beans. Black beans are supposedly bush beans. So that's cool. We'll see how that works out. This is really just kind of my experiment for the season. And then my herbs and flowers. So I have a couple cone flowers here. which the leaves are getting massive. And I'm curious if they're gonna grow any flowers this year. I haven't seen anything that looks like a flower yet. And then these are dahlias. That one is smaller because I think it was getting eaten by something at first, but then all of a sudden it just wasn't anymore. And so that one's a lot bigger. Also looking forward to seeing the flowers on this. And then I have, oh yeah, some more marigolds that somebody gave me right there and right there. And then let's see, thyme, sage, bee balm, oregano, and lemon balm, rosemary, lavender, and lavender. And the rosemary and lavender kind of both look a little sad, and I think it's because of all the rain. They just kind of, this one looks better, but this one looks kind of brown at the bottom, and I think it's because it's just had so much rain. They don't like to be that wet. My ginger is doing okay. This looks like something was digging right here. Like maybe a critter was digging, which is interesting because, oh yeah, see there's ginger right there. Maybe, did I do that? I don't think so. But so that ginger is starting to sprout right there, but this shot up and so did those two over there. Come on, focus, there we go. Those two. Something I'm a little bit disappointed in is the okra. So those two little seedlings there are okra, and then these are right here, which I was waiting till they got bigger to thin them, but they've been so small, and I also think it's because of the rain. They don't like to be really wet. So I did fertilize them yesterday to make sure they were getting enough nutrients, to make sure that wasn't the reason why they weren't growing. But I'm going to keep an eye on them. It's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow, but I think it's not going to be heavy rain for days and days like it has been. So hopefully the stuff that's a little bit waterlogged will recover. And just to show you what the nasturtiums look like, this is what the nasturtium looks like, this one over here. And I just think that's so pretty. Nice color. And then there's, of course, I have 3 different varieties. These, so the different, has different leaf patterns. And this one has the dark leaves, which are gorgeous, and these bright orange flowers. And speaking of these other flowers, the cosmos are doing really well. They're, I've been just steadily deadheading them. Occasionally pick a few to bring into the house. And then this is my first orange zinnia. I've gotten some pink ones, like purple ones, and red ones, but this is my first bright orange. So I'm excited to see what this looks like when it's fully unfurled. All right, guys, I have weighed it. I had to do the little airplane luggage weighing trick where you stand on the scale without the the thing, and then you stand on the scale with the thing, and we have 11 pounds, I think. So I think my harvest would have been bigger. I think I said this maybe already, but I think my harvest would have been bigger if I hadn't planted them so close together. So that's definitely a lesson for next year. And I do have a few more seed potatoes that I can maybe harvest, or I can plant at the end of the summer. They're already sprouting quite a bit. Hopefully, they'll still be good, and I'll be able to plant them at the end of the summer. But overall, I'm really happy with this, especially the bigger potatoes. I have some chaos going on over here. The pets are really interested in what I'm doing right now. So, but yeah, thanks for coming along and watching as I harvested my potatoes.